Nostalgia is a funny thing, isn't it? As we leave the innocence of youth and into the cock-punching period known as being an adult, we look back to the simpler times and sigh, fondly reminiscing of TV shows, experiences, and video games that we used to love. We'll talk people's ears off and scream loudly into the night our passion for games long gone. But ask yourself, have you actually gone back and played them? Because sometimes they are the worst, and your dreams fall to pieces around you and you're left naked and tubby and bald. That's no good. With this in mind, and with tongue firmly planted in cheek, I'm Jules, and I've dragged in Scott as well for WhatCulture.com, and these are the 8 ways you're wrong about old video games being better.
Number 8, not respecting the player's time. Nowadays, we clench fists and smash things when a game actively throws us back more than a minute or two's worth of game time, yet back in the day, this was the norm. Instead, simply because of memory allocations and sometimes budgetary restrictions, developers had to think of ways to ensure you got your money's worth considering the full price cost. Limited lives, time limits, levels designed to be tackled through trial and error. Here's looking at you, Battletoads. Games weren't designed to be beaten first time through. This didn't make for anything close to a fun or worthwhile time. You could lose an entire afternoon's worth of effort just trying to clear one platforming section. Speaking of making your life a living hell.
Number 7, passwords and memory cards. The time before memory cards were built into consoles was like the dark ages of gaming. Not only would you have to slog through the games themselves, but you'd have to contend with the awful issue of turning off the console and realizing, oh, flippy fish sticks. God dang, I've frickin' forgotten to write down the password. What a ninny hammer I am! Or, as we'd say if it happened today, Yes, while people bemoaned the ever hand-holdy experience of checkpoints every 10 feet and the likes of Call of Duty, it's far better than losing hours of progress just because the game had a 20-character password system and you miswrote a B instead of an 8. Even worse was the age of the Duff memory card, where you'd be met with the message, memory card corrupt, and I just wanted to die. The moment I lost my progress on Final Fantasy IX was so bad that it took me 6 years recovery time before I went back to finish it. God damn it.
Number 6, just being bastard hard for the sake of it. Now this is literally a quote from the late Satoru Iwata speaking on a Japanese TV show called Game Center CX. Video games from that era are abnormally hard. Back in the NES generation, for example, let's say everybody debugs a game after it's finished. Everyone involved in the production would spend all night playing it, and because they made games, they became good at them. So these expert gamers made the games. This means that the people who lived and breathed their respective games literally worked day in and day out for years at a time, got to decide the difficulty that we then had to tackle. Some say modern gamers have gotten soft, but back then the reality is that we were essentially being pranked.
Number 5, controls. Okay, while the SNES controller might be one of the most iconic images of my childhood, we all have to admit, controllers nowadays are far superior. Dual analog sticks, responsive triggers, and the buttons that for the most part don't get stuck under the f***ing plastic shell are far and above that of old input devices. And when you've got only a single D-pad and like 6 buttons, you had cases of developers coming up with ridiculous ways to allow players to perform certain actions. Hold up and shoot and you simply jump. Tap up and then jump and you somersault forward. In a pinch, that's a recipe for f*** you.
Number 4, no bug fixes without a full recall. Say what you like about how various developers and publishers abuse the ability to patch games so they can release increasingly unfinished, buggy as hell games, but the option to respond to community feedback is overall a godsend. Debuting in 2003 with a touch-up to Unreal Championship, everything released on consoles beforehand had to be as polished as possible out of the gate. Developers simply had no choice after the fact. You either got it right, or your bug, glitch, or missing component would be stuck forever. Ocarina of Time, for example, famously had a bug where you could lose the Master Sword during the final fight against Ganon, leading Nintendo to code all of their future cartridges differently, yet the glitch still remains in the original pressings of the game.
Number 3, handheld devices are impossible to play in the dark. Having the option to carry around your favourite titles and play on the go was an absolute game changer as a kid. If you were lucky enough to have a Game Boy, then you were the king of the cul-de-sac, able to trade playtime on your amazing console for sweets, trading cards, honest to God, pogs. Yet, as the night drew close, the following would disappear back to their houses. Not because they wanted to spend any time with their families, God no, but because there weren't any backlight for the Game Boy or Game Gear, and they became as useless as somebody trying to trade Tazos with you. off with that weak shit. Gaming at night was impossible as a result and meant more time in reality and less time in Tetris land, where everything fits into place and you don't get locked in the washing machine for not doing your homework.
Look, it's alright, it's alright.
Also, the battery life was gash, so there's that too.
Number 2, all the sexism. Oh, 80s and 90s gaming was a dark, dark time for the ladies. Balloon boob Tomb Raiders in one direction, half-naked Elder Scrolls seeking warrior women the other. Even Namco decided they'd try and sex up Pac-Man with a couple of packed boobs and some sexy legs. They say everyone likes a challenge, but even the horniest teenager would have struggled getting off to a sentient piece of cake from Brass Eye. Then there was the marketing. Oh dear God, the marketing. Masturbation jokes, flat-out sexism, just anything that made gaming out to be some little grotty boys club and nothing more. I mean, look, as much as I think that a whole load of point and wag your finger style debates have gone too far in certain directions, I need to talk easier. We really have come a long way since jacking off was being associated with playing a handheld console.
And number 1, being on the same plane of sight in Brawlers. You know I'm on the fucking money with this one. How many times have you been playing a game like Streets of Rage or Saturday Night Slam Masters or Golden Axe and been punching the air in front of you because you weren't on the exact same level as the enemy you're facing? Countless times is the answer. Hitboxes that only work on the same level are one of the most frustrating things about 2D fighters, and it's only in recent examples that this appears to have been addressed slightly. There you are, Billy Badass with a pipe in your hand, all raring to go thanks to some floor chicken you've just munched, and you're swiping at nothing like a drunk cat. Not the image you remember from your childhood, is it? And that's our list. Got any other frustrations you felt from games of the past? Well, let us know about them in the comments section below. Then why not swing by whatculture.com for more news and articles like this every goddamn day. As always, I've been Jules.
And I've been Scott.
And we'll speak to you soon.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe below, and if you're looking for more content like this, then try a few things that are floating about around my ears. Might be fun. I can't promise it though, but it might be.